Alright, I love this thing.
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and I just wanted to do a quick commentary about the Warclaw, because I feel like they've really nailed it with the implementation of this mount. I didn't expect much when I knew it was coming from World vs. World, but I think it's genuinely going to be my new main mount, and I kind of want to explain why that's the case and why that even matters, because there was a couple of other issues with mounts in general, or just the base mount set, that I find that they literally corrected with this mount. So basically the way it works is you have access to two different movement skills. You will need to re-keybind these separately since it messed with my keybinds, unfortunately, but you'll have a jumping bounce and a forward dash, both of which will take half of the bar, or well, the full bar particularly, but you can chain them together when you have all of your endurance bars. So basically, if you time it just right, or say you're falling from a high spot, you can jump, dash, and then jump again at the end. You can combine all of these together to cover some pretty insane ground. Now, where this gets much better is that the debate between Raptor or Jackal was a pretty hefty one for me personally. I wound up settling on the Raptor because the skin's cool as hell, but also because it was just the fastest and most efficient way for me to get around. Because you see, there's one particular problem with the Raptor, is it is slightly faster than the Jackal, but it loses uphill, because your Raptor jump doesn't let you do uphill particularly all that well. Whereas Jackal, for example, loses on the ground, because you can the Raptor jump will actually give you more mileage per jump if you chain it effectively, but going uphill will screw you, whereas the Jackal will, like I said, get less mileage per teleport, but will get a lot easier use uphill, like so. Yes, that is a factor for me. It is that fucking annoying. However, with the Warclaw, neither of these things matter, because the Warclaw dash works perfectly uphill, which is absolutely amazing. But then to combo with that, you also have the Springer built into the mount. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still some scenarios where you have to pull out the Springer to be able to reach certain places. This mount is still absolutely god tier for cheesing the entirety of the game. But you now have all of those problems solved, coupled with the fact you have a mini Springer. And provided you get high enough in the air, you can do... Oh, I didn't have enough endurance bars. But you can literally jump massive gaps with this thing and go all the way to, like, really far spots just by timing things out correctly. And then you still have two dashes, coupled with the time it takes to regenerate the bar back. So you can do 2, 3, maybe 4 if you time things just right. Let's see how many jumps I can get. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it's pretty good. You can get some insane distance, coupled with the fact you can then chain in a dash at any time, and then combo that into the Warclaw leap, get even more distance. The terrain coverage is exceptional, coupled with the precision that this thing actually gives you. It feels even more precise than trying to land the damn Springer. Like, I don't know how they've pulled it off, but I can hit my target that much easier with this thing in the air with no issue. I don't know. It just, maybe it just fits my hands more naturally than all of the other mounts that, like, I've had access to in the game. But this thing is absolutely the selling point for me, by far. And I didn't think that it would be. I thought I was just going to go into the expansion, have a great time, mess around, and probably not pull too much from it. But no, this thing is literally a permanent addition to my repertoire for sure. This is definitely my primary mount. And now I need to get him some skins, because right now we have the orange cat vibe going on. But I think I need to get some other cool stuff for him. On top of that, there's also other masteries that you can get. I don't even have all of them just yet. I have the basic ones, so the fall damage while riding the Warclaw is reduced to 0, which is also mental, because you would have fall damage and fall off your Raptor if you went from too high. That's another advantage the Jackal had over it, was you could air stall, for example, right? Where with the Raptor, you can't particularly do that. If you jump off, you can't do anything in the air, right? You take your fall damage, it's not particularly great. But with the Jackal, in a scenario like this, you never have to deal with that because you fall, and then you just air stall the teleport, and it doesn't really matter. But with the Warclaw, it literally just doesn't care about either of these things. You literally just don't give a shit whatsoever. And it's amazing. You combine that with everything else I showed you before, right? And then it doesn't even matter if you fall. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. You can go and bounce around and bounce around and bounce around. And oh no, oh god, I screwed up. Oh, we're fine. Right? Whereas before you'd get knocked off your Raptor, and then you land in a pack of pocket Raptors and get instantly melted. You know, like, it was a meme. But this thing, it doesn't give a shit. Does not matter whatsoever. And then coupled with the feline reflexes is where you get the jump, right? This one. Once you get Mastery 2, then you'll gain access to doing that, which is really, really nice. And then your dash here will also strike targets and do damage to them. Now, I've heard this is actually annoying, and some people want to turn this off, so I haven't experimented with it just yet. But this is also a mechanic in, what is it, some of the other, the Bog Queen, I think it is. You have to use this to deal damage to kill things. I wonder if you could almost even clear the open world with this, like use Cavalier runes with Wild Claws and just kill everything on your mount. I have some experimenting to do. And then you have Feral Fury, which is going to give you extra damage while riding the Warclaw, so even more damage if you're clearing early maps, I guess. As well as stun and deal bonus damage with the Defiance bar, which you can use, obviously, even in the open world to break stuff. And then you'll get increased endurance regeneration for all mounts by 20%, which is crazy for this thing, because it means you might be able to get 5 jumps in the span of that scenario rather than just 4, because 20% more is a lot when it comes to 3 endurance bars and the time you're spending in the air. Potentially, you'll generate another full bar back. So yeah, that is the Warclaw. Honestly, it's the biggest surprise, the expansion for me by far, because this is my probably permanent mount now, because it fills everything except being able to walk on water. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be able to do that. That would be a little too much. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the Warclaw. Let me know if you guys have been enjoying it as much as I have, or if you find any issues, or if there's something that I missed, or something that's like plaguing people. Do let me know so I can find it and be annoyed about it every time it happens to me. But that's gonna be all for me. Thank you guys very much for listening, and hope you enjoy Ganther Wilds. Take care.